Hello lovely people, welcome to my channel or welcome back. I'm Barbara and today's topic is very close to my heart and very important in my opinion. I think that not enough people are talking about this topic and it's very important because I just realized recently, I must say, how warped and distorted our view of sexuality is, especially due to pornography. Since I'm creating videos about women's cycle and how women's cycle is affecting everything in our life, it's very closely connected to sexuality as well. Healthy sexuality is part of being healthy and being well. Everybody's preferences are different and everybody's sexual desires are going to be different, and they are changing throughout the years of our life. So what is really nice and stimulating and really cool for us at some stage might not be interesting at all for us at some other stage of our life. There are many different things that can cause this change. In women, it's also, of course, like having a child, birth, and or having multiple children and multiple births, because there can be many different variations of what can differ and what can change that. Also for women it's the menopause, of course, because that changes a lot as well. It's basically always connected to hormonal changes that are happening in our body, and we cannot do much about that other than be careful what we eat, be careful that we exercise and move. That's what we can do, but there are going to be very different hormones in our body when we are pregnant, when we give birth and we're breastfeeding, and when we're in menopause. Like, that's just very... Also, there are very different hormones in our body when we get first period, when we're teenagers. So it's just so many different variations. It's not going to be as different for men, but what's very important to acknowledge as well, of course, like when men are, like young men are, you know, hormonal and they have a lot of hormones, so they feel very sexual and they wanted to express their sexuality, of course. That's gonna change as well, and it is changing especially due to stress and your eating habits. If you don't have enough testosterone, you're not gonna feel so much desire and you're not gonna feel like, you know, you want to make love. So that can be problematic if I say that later on. Usually when you're teenagers and you have a lot of raging hormones, that's not the case, it's not really happening. But what I wanted to talk about today especially is how the pornography is warping our reality of what we think or what we experience in lovemaking and just having sex. The problem that I see is that what we see in pornography, that can create desire and that can, you know, boost up our desire to make love. But the problem is that whatever we are watching is not the reality, and is not, most likely it's not what women enjoy and what they like. And if they're, you know, like they're just like doing all these yeah, and come on, give it to me, whatever, you know, it's not real. And if you don't realize that this is not real and it's not the reality, you're gonna disappoint not only the woman that you're gonna make love to, but also yourself, because when you don't satisfy a woman, you're not gonna be satisfied to yourself either. And the more you satisfy woman and she can let go and feel safe with you and she feels like she can truly trust you, she will let go and she will surrender. And the surrender is actually what connects you even more and deeper, and you're gonna have so much more enjoyable experience when both of you can like enjoy it. If they're like enjoying SM, like it's up to them. If everything is consensual, whatever, it's your consensus and it's up to you. I fear that when people are into very hardcore sexual expressions, it is somehow connected to some sexual traumas that might have occurred or happened in the past, and they might not be even aware of it. I've experienced myself abusement, like sexual abuse from my music teacher when I was 8 years old, and I totally blocked that experience for many years, and I wasn't even aware. The only pattern that I was kind of like experiencing was that every time when I would be flirting with guys and I would be like, you know, trying to be close to them, but as soon as they would want to touch me or kiss me, I would be like, come on, just like, don't touch me, what you doing? And that was totally connected to that trauma that happened because of the abuse that happened with the teacher. And I found out because my friend was going into those classes with me, and she even blocked it as well. We did not really like think about it. We were only 8 years old. Those kids are very vulnerable at that age, like, you know, until like you're like 10 or so. Boys have even harder time talking about any abuse. So it's very important to address any abuse that could happen to you or your loved one that you wanted to be with or are with. That's a very sensitive topic, and it needs to be addressed, it needs to be healed, otherwise it's gonna be, you know, messing up with your sexuality and your love for the rest of your life. That's not gonna go somewhere else, like it's not gonna disappear on its own. Like, you really truly have to do something about it intentionally. That is one aspect that is important to acknowledge. Another thing is that you really have to understand when you're watching porn, it can definitely, you know, just like make you desire, like make your desire for lovemaking to go stronger, but it's not the reality. And again, like, you have to realize that those people in the pornography are actor and actresses, and they're pretending. They're not, sometimes they might enjoy themselves when they do it for the first time, but if they're doing it for like half an hour, couple hours, 3 hours, not only they're using a lot of lubricant because they wouldn't be able to do it for that long, but also filming takes a long time and they need different angles and different, you know, like, yeah, different angles to shoot something that it's gonna look cool and good for the video, for the, you know, like everybody nowadays have their phone and they can film and they can do a video, so you can do it yourself. I actually tried to just like film my vagina to just see how it looked. Like, it's kind of cool to see that, you know, like how my vagina looks, because like when I look like this, like I gonna have a different view than if I truly like you know, take a picture or I use a mirror. So I definitely encourage you, especially women, to you don't have to take pictures because it can get somewhere on the internet as soon as it's on your phone. Like, it can connect to iCloud or whatever, so be careful with that. But you can truly just explore yourself. I think it's very important to explore and see what your yoni looks like, what, like, it's kind of like a little flower, so every vagina is different, just as penis is different. Every penis is different, the length and the size, so just as women's vagina and the inside of her vagina. And that's another thing to consider, not that when men, they think that somehow they have to have a big penis to satisfy women. That's not true. That's totally not true. Most of the time women are getting the clitoral orgasm, not inside vaginal orgasm. That's not as common actually. So woman needs to be stimulated outside mostly to orgasm more than inside. That is something that you have to be aware of as well. So it's not really that much about the size of the penis, but it's more about what you can do with your penis, and also what you can do with your fingers and your tongue. You know, how can you try to pleasure your woman that you chose to be with? Because if it wouldn't be enjoyable, then lesbians wouldn't enjoy having sex with each other, right? So it's not just about the penis, it's not about, you know, just like enjoying the intercourse, but it is mostly for women it's about trust and creating intimacy and having very deep connection with the person that you can make love with, because that is gonna create more enjoyable experience for you, for both of you. So the more you can trust each other, the more you can surrender, and the deeper you can get into that physical connection and really truly enjoy it. When you're using each other for just like pleasuring yourself, it's gonna be satisfying for just a very short time, but it's not gonna be long-term satisfying, and probably that can lead to partner changing because you are not feeling satisfied. But it's really coming down to how you can trust each other, how you can deepen your connection. It's very important to listen to each other. We women, we have to learn how to ask for what we want, what we need. We have to be more expressive of asking like, or saying like, I don't really enjoy this much. And man, I know it's very hard, like you don't want to be, you're also insecure and you're not feeling very secure either sometimes, and you need encouragement and you need some guidance, and it's like, it's important to understand that guidance is actually good. It's good for both of you. If the woman is trying to guide you, it's for your both benefit. It's not to try to criticize you. She's not trying to let you down and saying like, oh, you're doing it wrong and you're not good, but it's more about she's trying to guide you into pleasuring her, and the more you can pleasure her and satisfy her, you're gonna feel satisfied as well. So it really goes both ways. Try to communicate with each other, try to be more expressive and open. When I mentioned the length of the penis, that's not as important. It is quite important. Just as men have different lengths of their penises, women's vagina inside is different as well, like the different length. And it goes to the cervix. So if there is like very long penis and it goes into the vagina that is not very long, you're not gonna be able to get in like further, you know. Vagina is very flexible when it's like opening, of course, because, you know, we're giving birth sometimes to babies. So our vagina is used to being flexible this way, you know, like she can open up, but not the length. The length is just done. It's not gonna strengthen if you're gonna be inserting something inside. So just as, I mean, like you can enlarge penis with some surgery, but I wouldn't recommend that. That's I don't know. As I said, like it's not about necessarily the length of your penis that can satisfy the woman. You can still satisfy the woman and make love to her just as nice with the smaller penis. Sometimes it actually can be painful for the woman to make love to somebody whose penis is very big, you know, so you have to be aware that it can be uncomfortable and it can be painful. Longer length might not be the winning lottery, so just be aware that it's not about the length necessarily. And also what causes less desire is, of course, like, you know, the longer you're in the relationship, the more comfortable you get, and you're used to each other, and there is not as much excitement. The newness is gone, so you have to spark a little bit. You have to really initiate some spark to keep going the natural sexuality, keep it going. And as you were saying, like if you don't use it, you lose it. It's true. If you're not making love to your loved one, you're gonna lose the interest maybe, you know, and it can happen, and it happens in many long-term relationships. We are made to mate, not for life necessarily, because it becomes more about comfortability. It's more about security and like just being with someone that you're safe with and you can create home, and that's kind of like losing desire a little bit. So you have to do something special to keep that desire going, and it can be anything. Like usually like new place can help, if you take your partner to a new place, also when you try maybe new positions or new lubricant, some essential oils, maybe some massage, whatever can help to keep the flame going. We can definitely get into it. For young men and for young women who are just starting with sexuality, like exploring their sexuality, it's very important to explore first yourself, like explore what you like, what you enjoy, what touch is pleasurable for you, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, and so you can tell your future partner, because it's really important to know your body and feel what feels good. Like women usually have more the sexual zones, like the sensitive zones on their body than men, but it's like the most commons are like ears, your neck, this like here, breasts, also your belly and your vagina, and also the inner thighs. So those are the most sensitive. Probably for men it's mainly the penis and the inner thighs, but it can be many different places, so it's very important to explore yourself and also then with your partner. If you're shy, try to overcome that shyness, because it's for both of your benefit to just like really truly open up, and that's again like being more vulnerable and being more open and just more intimate. It's only gonna be for both of your benefit, it's not gonna create something bad. Try also be open-minded and not to take it as criticism when the partner is sharing with you what they like or what they don't like. It's really exploring, and it's important to be aware that it's time to explore, and it's not like, oh, you're doing it wrong. Well, try not to say it like that as well. Try to be very sensitive, because both men and women, we can be both very insecure, because nobody is teaching us really how to pleasure ourselves, how to pleasure each other. It's very sensitive. It's a very sensitive topic. It's very sensitive for both of us, so try to be understanding and loving and compassionate. I know when you're young it's not so easy to be as compassionate and understanding, but really realize, like, just be compassionate with yourself and be kind to yourself. And when you're kind to yourself and compassionate, then you can be compassionate and nice to each other and your partner. I'm trying to be honest, I'm trying to share as much as I can, especially with young people, because young people, there's just so much BS on the social media. There's so much just pictures that are unreal. There's so many pornography that is super unreal as well. I know it can be creating desire in you, and you're like, oh my god, this is so cool. Ooh, I feel so turned on. That's cool. Like, that's really doing it for me. But what it's doing for you is a damage. Like, it's really, really, truly damaging. I'm not trying to argue with somebody, but it is very damaging. It can be super damaging. So be aware. Just try not to overindulge in pornography. It can be super damaging. It's really not worth it. Try to explore on your own. Try to explore with your partner, and just be truthful to yourself. Be authentic, and try to really feel your body. The healthier we eat and the healthier we move, the more connected we're gonna be to our body, and the more pleasure we can actually experience. If you're super overweight, we're not gonna feel desire, not only because we're not feeling desirable, but because of the food, how it makes us feel, and because of the hormonal imbalance that is happening in our body. I'm still a little overweight, and when I lost some weight, I definitely started feeling way more desire for sexual, for sexual expression. So be aware that food is definitely affecting how we are feeling about ourselves, how we just feel in general, and also having movement is very important. And I'm not saying that people who have some extra weight cannot experience pleasure and they are not gonna be desirable and they don't feel desired. That's not true. But just be aware that the healthier we are mentally and physically, the more desire and sexual attraction and desire and expression we're gonna feel and enjoy. that's pretty much what I wanted to share today with you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments. You can also like this video so more people can see it. I definitely wanted to encourage especially young people to explore themselves and to explore each other and be kind to each other, because it's a very vulnerable time when we're teenagers and when we're starting exploring our sexuality and the sexuality of our partners. So be aware that there is no need to hurry. There's no need to just rush into it. Don't get anybody trick you into it or try to manipulate you into it. I got kind of like manipulated myself when I was 20 into having sex with my partner. It's very easy to get manipulated into having sex with someone because we feel a lot of times we are not feeling worthy of love, we're not feeling desirable. We think that through that, like allowing something like this happen, somehow we're gonna feel better, but at the end of the day we're not gonna feel better. So be yourself, try to explore yourself, not only sexually but also mentally and physically, and just be kind. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up. As I said, you can also subscribe to my channel. I'm posting almost every Wednesday, once a week, every other week in English and every other week in Czech. And I look forward to see you at my next video. Have a beautiful day. See you next time. Bye.